Hi, this is Summer with Summer's Tips and Stitches, and the main topic of this video will be color controlling. Now, I've mentioned this a few times in videos where I talk about working with cakes. And each time somebody has asked me, what is color controlling? Now, I thought about trying to do a more in-depth video where my husband would, record and hold the camera and show you. And then I just really thought, let's just be basic about it, because as we know, videos like that take 2 days sometimes to get put up. So, color controlling is when you control where your colors are. So a lot of times, most of you, when you're choosing what yarn colors you want to use together, and you're crocheting a project, let's just go simply with a blanket, and you say you want to do 2 rows of green, 1 row of yellow, 2 rows of green, 1 row of white, you're controlling where the colors go. Now, with the onset of these multi-changing cakes, things, I feel, got a bit sloppy. And this is, of course, by no means any kind of derogatory or, unkind words meant toward those people who have the personality to just go with the flow. I just wanted to say that. But the color changing cakes, I'll hold one up. These type in particular have long stretches of color, and then they change to a new color. Oh, you want to pop in and say hi?
Hi.
Okay, just a sec. Okay, so the yarn cakes have long stretches of color, most of them. In my experience, in working with the cakes, there's 2 types of yarn like this. Do you want to show them real quick what you have here, buddy? There he goes. This is a stick-bot. I'm not sure. Where does it come from, Flynn? Is that a Roblox or a YouTube thing or a game?
It's just a toy.
It's just a toy. Okay, now can I finish talking about cakes with these people? Okay, our subscribers. Okay, so I've come across 2 types of cake. The main one that I think was one of the first and one that is easier to color control are the Caron cakes. Now this is a long stretch of colors. You'll see, let's just start right here, where there's a pink, and it is going to abruptly change to, I'll just take this ball band off and show you guys. It's going to abruptly change to the next color. So what I'm going to do to show you guys this is I'm going to pull this off, this outer row, and there it is. Right here, you can see, here's the white that's changed to the purple. Caron cakes are like that. Bernat Pops are like that. The sugar wheels from Hobby Lobby are like that, where you'll be crocheting along. There is a little bit of fading in this part, but for the most part, here's the white, here's the purple. This kind of cake is the kind I love, and it has flecking throughout. So there'll be flecks of purple, a purplish blue, all throughout the other colors. Now, some people think that's fading, and maybe it is. Actually, some people call it sprinkles because these are cakes, but whatever. That's not the point of this video. The point is the color changes. Now, what I've noticed from Lion Brand is Lion Brand has a fade. I did not measure the fade, but we're going to pull off, and I'm working with the outer layer. Honey, can you really please not do that during this video? This is an important video. This is like one where Mama's educating. As you pull off the yarn, you will notice that, I don't know if you guys can tell, the purple will fade from a darker purple to a lighter purple. Actually, to be honest, I think it's going to be the opposite. I think it's going to be a lighter purple that will fade into a darker purple that's going to change into a blue. Okay? Now, this kind of cake makes it a little bit more difficult to color control because this is a darker purple, technically, than wherever the beginning is. Ha! Look at this mess I made. I don't know if this was a good idea. Okay, so I will tell you that mandalas are a little bit more difficult to color control. Now, you can do color controlling two ways. If you're working with multiple cakes, I think sometimes it can be harder. You have to decide what pattern you want to work in. But typically, if I were to make something with my two Hades, I've got one right here and one right here, I would start crocheting with my first Hades, and I always start with the center. Okay, so I don't always start with the center. If I'm making a triangle scarf, and you know how they start with that little triangle in the beginning, I start with the outside. Because the outside color, as you can see, is not going to be a full section. And you're starting with little rows in the triangle section. This video may be for more advanced crocheters, I guess. If I'm making like a baby blanket where I'm working in long rows, or maybe a sweater, or a shawl that is long rows versus the triangle, then I start with the middle because the middle is going to be a full section. Okay? And what I do is I start crocheting. So let's say I'm starting with this mandala or mandala, however anyone calls it. And as it starts to change from the dark purple or from the fuchsia type purple to the light one, I stop, I cut. I cut where the change is happening, and then I go to my other cake and I pull that section out too. Now you can do it two ways. You could pre-cut this whole thing into color balls and then pick up that other color and continue. Or you could just, wing it and just take out the color you need and then continue with what you're doing. And then when it changes to the blue, when you start running out with blue, come on over here and fill out the blue. Now, you may seem like, golly, that seems like such a lot of work. Why the heck are you doing that? And the reason I do that is because I don't like the color changing happening in the middle of a row. I don't like it. To me, and again, this is where I don't want to sound judgmental. It looks like I was sloppy because you have all those people out there, and for years, who would buy yarn, separate colors, like a red, a blue, and a green, and they'd make a blanket, and they would never change color in the middle of a row. You would wait to the end. And so I think, in my mind, and obviously this is all my opinion, it just looks a little sloppy. So what I'm going to show you is right here. I did not color control this. So as you can see, I hope, right here in this row, this is one of those triangle scarves, this blue changed right there at the pink, the peak of the triangle, and then changed right to green. Now I left that one in there. And then there's another one I have. I had it set out, but then when I got up to get the cake, okay, here's another one. Right here, oh, here you go. In this row, it changed from the dark green to the light green. I don't know how. Oh, Flinny, can you please wait a minute for this video? It changes. Do you see that? I'll hold it up here for a minute. It's not like staring you in the face like, oh my God, that's horrible. But for me, in my eye, when I look at something laid out, those color changes mid-row jump out at me. And I don't like them. Just like right there. I'm going to hold this with my teeth, people, so I can point to it. Right there. So this one here, I was making it for my daughter. I was making it for myself. Well, I stole it from her. And so I did not worry about the color changes because I wasn't selling this. I wasn't giving it as a gift. This is my Ripple Wrap, which I have put links in the description for multiple times. This was all color controlled. So that means when it went from the dark blue to the aqua, I crocheted all the way to the end. When it started to make the change, and then I would come do the aqua row. If the aqua or whatever color changed in the middle, I stopped. I ripped it all the way back to the edge. I cut. I left a tail for weaving in. And then I pulled out until I got to the new color, and then I started with the new color on the edge. That way, all of my lines are in a fresh new color. And that is how I do that. Then I save all those little partials because, as you guys know from my Frankenstein wrap, you can use those little pieces again. And so then I will start with my new color, and I'll go along until it ends. Now, there have been times when it doesn't make a full row, depending on what you're working with, and then I just cut that whole piece right out. And then I go on with my next color. Like I said, it's a little bit hard to do this with the mandala cakes because of the fading they do. Do you see that? From the light gray to the dark gray to the light gray. So I will be honest, if you have a mandala cake, it's going to be a little bit harder for you to control your colors because of the fading. But with these cakes, you can very easily go right along, snip, cut, and then you'll have a ball of white section. Pull off all the purple. It will change from the light purple to the dark purple. Snip. And then when I get back to this white color again, I just put it on the same ball as I was wrapping up my white. So in the end, I would have a white ball, a dark purple, a light purple, a dark pink, and a light pink. I'll have all those balls laid out. Then let's just say I'm going with the triangle wrap, because usually the triangle wraps are the ones that, now look what I have to work with here. Usually the triangle wraps are the ones that are easiest to do this with, because you start with this little triangle right here, and then it grows and grows to be bigger. So then the color that I have the least amount of, I start with this triangle, because then you will have a pretty decent amount to still have a thick band. And then I wait until I get to the edge and I see where the color change is going to happen. And then I cut it at the edge, and then I start my new color right at a new row. And then I just kind of, and usually because you start small and you end up with these really big rows, I save the biggest ball for the end. So I put them in order from smallest to biggest. And that way your rows kind of stay a little bit more consistent. Whereas if you use that really big ball in the beginning, you would have a really big chunk up here. And if you use that little ball at the end, you might have a little row. And if that's something you want, like an edging, maybe that's what you would do. So I hope this doesn't sound crazy with Flynn popping in and out and moving all around. That is essentially what color controlling is. You are either balling up your separate mandala cakes or Caron cakes or your sugar wheels and separating them into colors so that you can choose where your color changes happen, or so that you can make sure your color changes happen on the ends, not in the middle of a row. Or you can just crochet along, and when you see that a color change is happening mid-row, pull it out right back to the end, cut it, start the new section. I will say, and here I'm going to pause and show you something. So I will say what I have here is a bag of mandala parts. These are the pieces of the leftover rows. So if I was not able to get this little bit of yellow in, when let's say it went from yellow to green, and as the green changed, I was only able to get like a third of a row, I just frog this out and cut it, ball it up, and I stick it in my bag. There are some that are a fair amount, like this is a fair amount of purple. This is left over from the mermaid wrap. Yeah, and I've just been saving these extra pieces in here. And that does happen. So if you're someone that wants to just crochet straight through and make a full blanket and you don't care where those pieces are and you use those whole 2 cakes, you're great. But I will say one of the hazards, if you will, of color changing mid-row like this is that you do end up with scraps. Now my plan is to piece this together in some sort of a nice blanket. I mean, there are some sizable pieces in here. There's, like, to me, this is almost not a scrap. This you could probably make like a baby hat and a baby booty out of. But yeah, that is kind of what happens. You end up with these little partial balls. And if I can't get a full row out of it, and sometimes depending if it's getting more towards the end of the wrap, then yeah, like I said, I just cut it. So yes, that is color controlling, and it works for me. If the color changes mid-row don't bother you, then just go with it. Do you. Do you, yo. Is that what I said in one video? And I said Maddie would be horrified. She wasn't. So yeah, I just thought I would see if I can find any more of these. Because this, like I said, I did not color control this at all. And when you have it all wrapped around, you don't really notice it. But I feel like if I'm going to sell a product or if I'm giving something as a gift, I want to make sure it's almost as perfect as can be. And I will frog back. Like if I am making a blanket and I see like 20 rows down that I made a mistake, I pull it all the way back and go right back to that mistake. If I'm giving it or selling it to someone. If it is for myself or my daughter or maybe one of my boys, I leave it in there. Okay, so that is that. Now this video has gotten to be 16 minutes. And I wanted to show you, I think I'm still going to tack this on to the end of the video. I'm going to watch this, I'm going to go to church, and then I'm going to come back and watch it again to see if I put this video out. I don't know if I'll redo it, because I feel like it got a little hairy in there for a bit when Flynn was popping in and out, and I was trying to be serious. But I did get some mail. Where is it? Oh, right back here. So, this I knew I was going to get. This is Knit Crate. Now, Knit Crate, if any of you had them, I want to say they had a sale going on called Double Down, where you could buy, and they had them in groups, I think 3 and 6. And I want to say original price, it was going to be like $54. And then you could type in the code Double Down and you would get a percentage off. And then I was going to use my stash points to pay for the rest. So, public service announcement. You cannot use, when you're ordering Knit Crate, a sale code and your stash points. So as I was processing the sale, it never asked me to use my stash points, and then all of a sudden, my sale was final, and I was like, what? So I emailed them, and I said, hey, I'm trying to use my stash points on making this purchase, and I put the order number, but I wasn't able to do that. Are you able to, do that from your end? I want to say like 2 days later, I got a message from them that said, actually, we can't. You cannot use your stash points with the sale code. But what we did have happen was when they entered in the cost of the yarns on their webpage, they had an error that did not actually put the sale price in. It was just listed as regular price. So they refunded my sale, processed it with the sales price, and then used my Knit Crate points, my stash points, and I ended up getting, you guys aren't even going to believe this, I ended up getting 3 skeins of this yarn and the shipping and handling for $11.70. Holy cats, isn't that a deal? So what I ordered was the blue/purple, because I'm like Angela from Angela Crochets. I thought this looked purple. Periwinkle, I guess. The Wool's Halo DK. It's 50% alpaca, 30% merino, 20% nylon. And it's DK weight. Oh, and isn't it pretty? So I got these 3 skeins and the shipping to my house for $11.70. Isn't that amazing? Now, working with this, it will leave you fuzzy. So if you have a problem with that, you know, probably don't order this type of yarn. I just put on a Green Bay Packers sweatshirt that I'm not really caring about, and I have it on there, and I wash and I dry it, and it was no problem. And my son had no reaction to this. I think his main, because my son is allergic to fur from animal, he does not seem to have any reaction to me working with this in the home and wearing it. So yeah, isn't that gorgeous? I feel so lucky. And I actually got a message from one of you lovely subscribers that said she had had a problem once refunding a knit crate in an order situation, and so I was a little nervous when I sent them that email. I was like, great. I'm probably gonna have to have spent, because with the double down, I still had to spend $46. But that was also before they had put them on sale. You know what I'm saying? They were supposed to have listed them on sale, and they hadn't. They had put them up for regular price. And so it was confusing. But no, they were very happy to refund me, and I'm very happy about that. So I knew that was coming, and I am excited. The other thing I got, I better hold this carefully, is a complete surprise. I got this in the mail, and it said it's from Los Angeles, California. And I'm like, Los Angeles? Who could that have been from? I didn't order anything. And it has Summer Bjornson with a heart and a smiley face. And I'm like, well, this person knows me. But I was really happy to see that I got something from Z. I got this Yarn is Life coaster, I believe. But I probably would not put a drink on it because it's too beautiful. I'll probably prop it up somewhere here in my crafting corner. And I got, of course, her little business card is tucked in here. I'll hold it up for you guys. Z, Yarn is Life, YouTube, email, and hashtag Yarn is Life, zformationcreation@gmail.com. Is that long enough for you people to pause if you wanted to look that up? And then I got 2 buttons. Yarn is Life button and a 1-800-Z touched me with a little sheep. And I love Z. I watch her, not regularly, like each day when the videos come out. I usually like binge watch her on a weekend because sometimes her videos are short and I can just watch a bunch in a row. So I don't know if Z, I don't know if I ever gave Z my address. So I don't know if maybe I flashed it on the screen one day. Maybe that's what happened. Or maybe Debbie or Claudia, because I know I've ordered buttons from Claudia before, and I know that Canadian Crocheter has my address. Maybe she asked one of them. Maybe Z emailed me and I gave it to her. Because I'm going to be honest, folks, I've been giving out my address too much. I really need to get on the ball with a P.O. box. Because I do live kind of in a protected area where I live in a group of condos that everybody owns their own condo and they all look the same, and so you don't know which unit is someone else's. But it's probably not fair for me to be throwing that out there all the time. But anyway, thank you, Z. Isn't that beautiful? I don't know if I want to punch a hole in it and hang it on the wall, but maybe I will tape it up there. So that's what I got in the mail. And I just want to quick reiterate that I mailed out 2 of my 3 prize winners from the cotton. I'm still waiting for Janine Sky, if you happen to be watching this video. I have messaged her off of her comment from the prize winning one, and then I put, obviously, that video out where her name was in there. So I'm still waiting. I'm not sure how long I'll wait, but I'm still waiting. Her yarn is all bagged up in here waiting. The first 2 people did respond, so I have that. And, oh, and then my whip. Whew, you guys, this video is turning out to be long. I have started, this is for my new niece or nephew that's coming. This is using that thermal stitch by Julie Boduc from Ravelry. I guess I can put a link in the description again to that. I'm almost done. I have got one more full skein to use, and then it's time for me to put on my border. So, unfortunately, I won't get much crochet time done today because there's this video I'm doing, I've got church, we got a family event, we got a math tutor. It's just like bam, bam, bam. So I don't know that I'll get much done today. This is also spring break week, so my kids will be home all week, so we'll see how that goes. And then I have not even touched my Willow Granny Square project. I've been solely working on the baby blanket because you never know when babies can come. You have to be prepared. So that's that, you guys. Maybe this video will never make it out. Maybe I'll look at it and be like, holy Toledo, that was a hot mess, and I'll have to redo it. We shall see. And then I'll have to redo all of this. Holy cats. But maybe I'll just be like, you know what? That's what people like about me. This is real life. You know, I always say that if I had to stop and do my hair and makeup, make sure I was wearing something that you haven't already seen in the last month, or if I had to make sure my life was perfect, this never would have happened. Because I feel like once you start with those expectations, you have to keep it up. And being a full-time working mom, 3 kids, Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, church, I just wouldn't have the time to try to keep up with that. So I just said to myself, if you're going to do these videos, you got to go on how you are some days, good or bad. If you wear the same Boy Scout sweatshirt 3 videos in a row, that's life. And if your kids pop in, you can't pause it. You just got to keep on going. Because otherwise, you know, I would be spending most of my video pausing and unpausing and pausing and unpausing, and you guys would be a little jittery. So that's what life is. But I do re-record some of them because sometimes the wrestling upstairs is too loud, or Flynn knocks over my camera. And disasters like that have happened, and it's just like, ah! All right, well, folks. Janine Skies, if you're seeing this, or if any of you see her comment in another YouTube video from one of our yarn friends, your prize is still here. And I hope the color controlling is explained. And thank you, Z, for the little treat. I really appreciate it. Until then, happy crafting. Bye.